Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We are going to unpack the profound historical and theological layers of Solomon's temple, specifically looking at how it's described in 2 Chronicles chapter 3. But we're actually going to unbuild this ancient structure to reveal it as this absolute masterpiece of divine preparation and enduring presence. So whether you're a total history buff, deeply familiar with ancient texts, or just kind of fascinated by how architecture and theology intersect, you are going to find this absolutely fascinating. Here is our blueprint for today. First, the temple's historic foundation. Then, Moriah, the prepared place. Third, Ornan, grace over judgment. Fourth, the unseen cherubim wings. Fifth, pillars, Jachin and Boaz. And finally, a message for today. All right, let's dive into part 1, the temple's historic foundation. So there's this incredible textual mystery hidden right between two seemingly identical historical accounts in the ancient Hebrew texts. It's a detail that's incredibly easy to miss, but honestly, once you spot it, it completely changes the meaning of the building. Look at 1 Kings chapter 6. The text gives us the timeline, noting that Solomon started building the temple 480 years after the Exodus, right? But it gives absolutely no specific named location. Now, flip over to 2 Chronicles 3:1. The author takes that exact same story, but deliberately anchors the building to a very specific, historically loaded piece of real estate. They explicitly add Mount Moriah and Ornan's threshing floor. You have to ask yourself, why would they do that? That brings us to part 2, Moriah's the prepared place. To really get why this foundation matters, we have to rewind to a story of radical faith found all the way back in Genesis chapter 22. You might know it. Abraham is told to take his son to the land of Moriah, and right as Abraham is about to sacrifice his son, God steps in and provides a ram instead. Abraham actually names the place Jehovah-Jireh, which means the Lord will provide. By intentionally naming this location Moriah, the 2 Chronicles text is nudging the reader, reminding them that hundreds of years before Solomon laid a single physical stone, God had already declared this a place of provision. It proves this was a spot he prepared long in advance, not just some prime piece of real estate chosen by human ambition, The grace was there first. Moving on to part 3, Ornan, grace over judgment. The history of this plot of land goes even deeper, tracing back to 1 Chronicles 21. King David made what we might call a pretty massive administrative blunder, an arrogant census that basically unleashed a devastating plague across Israel, tragically costing thousands of lives. But just as the angel of destruction raised its hand towards Jerusalem, God intervened. He literally said, "It is enough, now stay your hand." And where exactly did that angel stop? Right at the threshing floor of a guy named Ornan. David actually bought that exact spot and built an altar there. So the crucial takeaway here is that this exact patch of dirt is where God's mercy halted a devastating judgment. It turns a site of sheer tragedy into a permanent place of profound grace. This brilliantly lays out the timeline of this one single plot of land. I mean, imagine being the original audience reading 2 Chronicles. These were folks who had just returned from Babylonian exile. Their beautiful city, destroyed. Solomon's glorious temple, completely in ruins. But by highlighting Moriah and Ornan, the author is showing these post-exilic readers that even though their physical temple was currently rubble, the foundation of God's grace was laid centuries before those walls were ever built. The real estate itself screams the message that God's grace completely predates human structures. Okay, let's head inside for part 4, the unseen cherubim wings. Having excavated the foundation, we're now stepping straight into the Holy of Holies. The text gives us incredibly detailed measurements of the interior, but there is one number that really stands out. Inside, there were 2 cherubim, these massive figures representing God's presence. The text explicitly notes each wing was 5 cubits long. With 4 wings spread out, the combined wingspan of the 2 cherubim was exactly 20 cubits. Now, why is that number a big deal? Because it flawlessly matches the exact width of the room itself. Those wings stretched from one wall completely to the other, literally not a single inch to spare. Let's break down why this 20-cubit math is so deeply significant. Cherubim always represent the presence of God in these texts. So a 20-cubit wingspan means there is absolutely zero empty space left in that room. It's totally covered. But here's the wild part. Ordinary people would never, ever see this locked room. Only the high priest went in there, and even then, just once a year. Yet the text meticulously records this exact measurement. It acts as his powerful visual declaration that God's presence leaves absolutely no empty space, assuring us that his grace is fully active and entirely present, even when it is 100% unseen by human eyes. That takes us to part 5, pillars, Jachin and Boaz. From that intimate, hidden interior, we are stepping back outside to the highly visible exterior. Unlike the unseen cherubim we just talked about, these massive pillars at the entrance were impossible to miss. They stood loud and proud right at the front. The pillar on the right was named Jachin. Now, Jachin literally translates to "he will establish." Every single person walking into the temple grounds, priest, common citizen, whoever, would first see Jachin. It served as this towering, in-your-face reminder that it is God alone who establishes and builds our lives and our foundations. And right beside Jachin stood the left pillar, Boaz. Boaz translates to "in him is strength." So think about it. Before any worship happened, before anyone even stepped foot inside, people were forced to walk past these names. They were instantly reminded that true capability, true establishment, and true power reside exclusively in the Lord, definitely not in their own human efforts. It's like a giant puzzle coming together to form this stunning architectural theology. Just look at the contrast. On the inside, you have the hidden cherubim wings assuring the people of his intimate, unseen presence, a space accessed by literally one person. But then on the outside, you have these massive, highly visible pillars publicly declaring his unwavering strength and establishment to absolutely everyone. It's the whole picture. God is working both in the quiet, unseen spaces of our lives and in the loud, public realities. Finally, let's wrap up with part 6, a message for today. So what does this ancient architectural blueprint actually mean for us, right now, as we navigate our own modern challenges? The incredibly comforting pastoral message of this entire explainer is all about the foundation. For those Israelites staring at the rubble of Jerusalem, the message was clear. The temple ruins do not erase the foundation. The places of grace, Moriah and Ornan's threshing floor, they were there long before the gold and the wood, and they remained there long after the gold and wood were gone. And honestly, it's the same for us. Even when the structures of our own lives collapse, the foundational grace that God has already established remains perfectly intact. His presence just isn't dependent on our perfect buildings. I want to leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. When you look at the difficult challenges, the unexpected setbacks, or maybe the ruined plans in your own life today, how are you going to choose to view them? Are you going to focus purely on the fallen stones, or will you trust the unseen wings of his grace and the unshakable foundation he has already prepared for you? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this deep dive into Solomon's temple gives you a powerful, fresh perspective on the ruins in your own life.